everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the Celtic twist block. Today I'm going to take you through how to stitch all of the different sections of the block, including the partial seam in the center. And here is a quick peek at the completed block. You can see there are 2 shades of light green and 2 shades of the dark green, and they look like they intertwine. Hence the name of the block. In part 1, if you did not see that, I showed you all the AccuQuilt dies that you can use to cut out the shapes, and I also showed you how to lay out the block. I am following the Celtic twist block pattern from McCall's quilting, and there is a link in the description where you can get the free PDF. Alright, here we go. Okay, welcome back to the sewing machine. I am following the pattern and I'm going to first make the corner sets, and for that you need a rectangle and 2 of the smaller squares, the 2-inch squares. And the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and join together these 2 squares. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch right down this line here. I have a jumper scrap and my 1/4-inch foot. The jumper scrap just helps the fabric when the needle enters the actual fabric that I'm going to stitch in. It just prevents it from getting caught into the machine. And I am going to go ahead and finger press the seam allowance to the darker fabric. Okay, and for the pattern, you have your rectangle, and then you're going to have the strip on this side with the white here. You just follow your pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and put those right sides together, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch down this line. Okay, so when I open this up, there you go, that is the corner piece. And again, I'm just going to finger press this for now over to the darker, larger rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to make 3 sets of these. Okay, so for the next step, we're going to snowball the rectangles, the white rectangles, with 2 2-inch squares, and it's going to come out looking like this. Alright, so here's what I do. I start out with the 2 squares, okay, on top of the rectangle, and I want to flip the squares over so they are right sides together. So I go ahead and do that. And then I have a marking tool and a small ruler, okay, a small ruler and a marking tool. And what I'm going to do, I go ahead and pin one so that I can work on the other. I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler here, okay, and I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner here so that I have a stitch line here, right, and then we're going to go ahead and sew along that stitch line, and then we're going to cut off, here's my line, okay, so that's going to be my stitch line. Hopefully you can see that. We're going to go ahead and stitch along that line, and then we're going to cut off this excess here on this side. I'll leave a 1/4-inch seam allowance, and then that will be the snowball stitch complete. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so now this has stitching right along the orange line that I made. And then I go ahead and cut about, I just eyeball it, about a 1/4 inch or so away from that stitching line. So here's the stitching line, and then I just cut off this little piece. And now when I open it up, finger press it open, okay, you can see it looks like that. All right, and that's called a snowball. So I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. I can take my little pin out. That was just to hold it. I make sure I line this up. Go ahead and draw the line. I'm using an orange Expo pen, but you can use a pencil or any other marking tool that you like. So there is the line. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that down. Cut off about 1/4 inch away from that line, and then finger press it open. And voila! Okay, you have 2 snowballed corners. So I'm going to do this 3 more times for the other 3 rectangles. Okay, so we're back to our block center. And of course the center has a 3.5 inch square in the middle that's white, and I joined the first rectangle to it. Now instead of starting at the end, I started in the middle and I simply stitched from here to here, okay? And then I just finger pressed it open and I joined the first rectangle, and you can see this part isn't stitched, but this part is. Alright, then you're going to grab your next rectangle. It will be the length that would include the green strip and the white, so it'll be that length, and you simply put it right sides together, and then you go ahead and just stitch all the way down that line. Alright, so we're going to do that next. Okay, so I just finished stitching this rectangle. Alright, so we're going to add the next one, which is this light green. And again, I just line this up and stitch from one end to the other. Okay, so I added on the next block. Okay, so now we are ready to add on the last rectangle, and again, this is the partial seam, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. This piece, this rectangle, will fit exactly along this bottom part. Okay, so I'm going to put right sides together. Okay, and you can see this fits exactly along the bottom part, right, from end to end. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. Alright, so at this point we have, 3 rectangles completely sewn on, and then we still have this part that is not. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this down, and I'm going to stitch from this little part where I started before all the way down to the end here. Or I could actually go the other way and start from the end and then join up in the middle, which I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to back stitch here a couple stitches just to set that seam, and then cut it. And voila! Okay, you now have all 4 rectangles, okay, and all 4 seams, and then I'm just going to press the back. Welcome back! I just finished sewing the 9 patch together, and here it is, the Celtic twist. As you can see, there are 2 light green twists and 2 dark green twists with a white background. Well, we just finished the Celtic twist block. Here's the final block. Thank you so much for sewing along with me today. I hope that I cleared up any questions that you would have following the pattern. And this is block number 1 for the March wall hanging. This series that I'm making, I'm doing a wall hanging for each month. The whole project is called Celebrate the Seasons, and we are now on the March wall hanging. So that will consist of 10 blocks, and I have more information and a document that I am updating every month, and you can access that. There's a link in the description below. Thank you for sewing along with me. Take care. Bye.